भाई रे राम कहो चित लाए, राम कहो चित लाए। हर जस वखर ले चलो, साहो देखे पतियाँ। राम कहो चित लाए, भाई रे राम कहो चित लाए। वणज करो वणजारेओ, वखर ले हो समान। तैसी वस्त वैसाहिए, जैसी निभे नाल। आगे साहो सुजान है, लैसे वसत समान। भाई रे राम कहो चित लाए। जिन्ना रास ना सच है, क्यों तीना सुख हो। खोटे वणज वणंजे मन तन खोटा हो। फाही फाथे मिर्ग ज्यों, दुख घणो नित रोए। भाई रे राम कहो चित लाए। खोटे पोते ना पावे, तिन हर गुर दर्श न होए। खोटे जात ना पत है, खोटे नासी जस कोय। खोटे खोट कमावना, आए गया पत खोए। भाई रे राम कहो चित लाए। नानक मन समझाइए, गुर कै शब्द सलाह। राम नाम रंग रत्या, भारना भरम तेना। हर जप लाहा अगला, निर्भव हर मन माह। भाई रे राम कहो चित लाए। हर जस वखर ले चलो, साहो देखे पतियाँ। राम कहो चित लाए, भाई रे राम कहो चित लाए। In our last sitting, Gurbani was indicating to us, जिन्ना सतगुर रस मिले से पूरे पुरख सुजान। गुरमिल भावजल लंघिए दर गए पथ परवान। नानक ते मुख उजले धुन उपजे शब्द निशान. The last three lines of our hymn number 22. It was indicating to us, once you get on that path, with the grace of the creative force, you get in the company of those who are into that model already, on that path already. Jinna Satgur Ras Mile. Those who come in contact with the company of those who are already on that path, those are the real wise one. So pure purkh sujan, because they have understood the purpose of this body form, and they walk on that path. And what happens to them? Nanak te mukh ujjale dhun upajay. They hear that soundless sound from within. Dhun upajay. Dhun means sound. Upajay means it gets created from within. That is the power of Shabad Nisan. That Shabad means the word. Nisan means that's the test. The test of the true word is that it starts resounding from within. So in order to get there, what do? Once they meet in the company of those who are on that path, who are trying to get to the Satgur, those who are trying to get there, what do? Well, that's the next hymn. And the hymn says, Vanj karo Vanjareo. He says, even when you are in the company of those, you can waste the time and energy into completely useless things. Vanj means the business. Vanjara means the one who is in business of doing business. A businessman. That's Vanjara. Vanjare literally meant the people who travel from place to place to place. They don't stay at one place. They are not like the shopkeepers who go to the same shop every day and sell the product from there. Vanjara is the one who moves from place to place to place. Hence, wherever they are, it is temporary. That's why the word Vanjara for the human body. They are here temporarily. They are the kind of businessmen who cannot continue coming to the same shop and sell. They will have to move sooner or later. So that's why they are compared with the Vanjara. They are businessmen, but they are not the businessman who has a shop, permanent shop. See, so you can see that there is always a hint behind why the word is chosen. We will very quickly skip away over it. Vanjara means business, so we are doing business. But business of very different types. And it's defined, it's indicated in the word. Vanj karo Vanjareo, vakhar leho samal. Now, vakhar means the investment. So, if you are in a business, in the business, the rule is that you start with a fixed investment and then you recycle that investment and you get the profit. You don't lose your investment, because if you lose your investment, you are a bad businessman, because you are losing money. You are losing your investment. You are losing your principal, as they say. Your principal should stay intact, and you add something on top of that. So what does that mean? Well, human body is given to you with a clean slate. A child has nothing on it. Clean slate. So we start adding on top of the child's memory, mind, whatever you want to call it, the things that will take him into the business of loss. And therein lies the rub. There is the dichotomy. There is a big slippery slope. Because the child will do the business in the outer world assuming that he's winning the battle. The reality is that whatever is his winning is an illusion to him. He's actually losing on the other side. Why? Because the basic investment, he didn't have an ego at that time when he came. He will develop ego. When he was born, he doesn't have anger. He didn't have any greed. But he will develop all of those. He will develop the desires, vasanama. And all of those things will keep on becoming more and more powerful as he deals with the business of the Maya, business of the illusionary temporary world. And Gurbani says, wait a minute. You are doing business, but what is happening to your vakhar, your investment? Are you saving it? Vakhar leho samal. Are you, samalna means to save it. Are you saving your investment or are you losing it? Think very clearly. Te lammi nadar nihaliye, Gurbani says, when you are making decisions, think, lammi, dur di nigah na dekh. Don't look at the near term. But the senses are only can look at the near term, right? I touch something, I feel soft, I feel good. Touch something cold, I feel comfortable, I'm done. How can it think about the long term? I taste something, tastes good, I'm done. How can it see? How can it ever imagine what is going to be 10, 20, 30, 50 years from today? It cannot. These senses have no power to go beyond. And Gurbani says, those people who got into the company of, with the grace of God, the company of the Guru, then they don't waste time. They get down to the business, and the business means I'm going to make profit. And the profit means I'm going to get rid of everything that causes me the loss. So what is causing you the loss? Well, whatever you have collected, the junk from outside, is causing you the loss. Somebody was chiding me the other day that I was talking of the PhDs, and there were 3 PhDs in the room, and they probably felt insulted. That I apologize. I was not talking about the PhDs in any disrespectful way. I was basically saying that the world gives PhDs, people giving PhDs to the people. What is the significance? If he gives you the PhD, now there is some meaning. We have established these things such small ways. Now, Kabir never went to the college. Do you think you would think that Kabir is wiser at a higher plane than all the PhDs put together? All the degrees that Banaras University will give? It all is a perspective. Which education you value more? And Gurbani is saying, value the education that gets closer to him. Don't overvalue the education that is giving you the kudos and appreciations and the siropaos and certificates from this world, because those are the choices of the people. There have been times when the universities and the principals have sold the degrees for tidy sum of money, and people have bought it, and it goes on even today. And Gurbani basically says, Vanaj karo Vanjareo Vakhar leho samal Taisi vast visaiye jaisi nibhe naal. Test de deta. What is the investment and what is the business? He said, well, there's only one test. That business should be able to help you in the other dimension. Jaisi nibhe naal. Jehdi tuade naal jaye. to the other dimension. Think of the business, the transaction, that is possible to take it with you. Right? Now therein lies the real whole gist. What is the business that we do here that we can take with us? Whether these are the degrees, or whether it's the wealth, or whether it's the name, whether it's the fame, can we take any one of this with us? The answer is obvious to everyone. But if we know that, then how come we don't stop that business and do the other one? Isn't that amazingly paradoxical? This business is so powerful, has such a great hold. And the interesting thing is, those who are saying, absolutely incorrect. Absolutely incorrect. Kabir did not live, or Frid did not live. Kabir survived 115 years on this planet, had a wife and children. I mean, you have to make a conscious choice. He fed them, he clothed them, they lived in a hut. But it was a very meager living, because he was interested in living and investing long-term investment somewhere else. Here he was interested in living only, and long-term investment somewhere else. We are not interested in living here only. We want long-term investments here. That's our difference. You look at the life of those who are writing these words to us, whether it's a Nanak, or whether it's Kabir, or whether it's a Farid, or whether it doesn't matter who you look at. Namdev, Ravidas, they were all handicraft. Everyone was doing work. Kabir is Julaha, kapade bunda. Right? Ravidas he used to skin the dead animals, take the skin and make shoes and the clothes. That was his business. Can you imagine? Dead animal skinning? ਅਸੀਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਮਾਸ ਨੂੰ ਹੱਥ ਨਹੀਂ ਲਾਉਣਾ, ਬੋ ਆਉਂਦੀ ਹੈ ਚਮਰੰਗਾਂ ਦੇ ਜਾਣ ਦੇ। ਉਹ ਕੱਪੜੇ ਨੂੰ ਚਮੜਾ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਸਫਾਈ ਕਰਕੇ ਉਬਾਲ ਕੇ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਕਲਰ ਕਰਕੇ ਫਿਰ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਕਲਰ ਕਰਨਾ ਹੈ, ਉਹਨੂੰ ਸੁਕਾਉਣਾ ਹੈ, ਫਿਰ ਉਹਨੂੰ and then he is going to cut it into the sizes and make shoes. That is his business. Every Bhagat in Guru Granth Sahib was an actual grihasti, actual with a family and work ethics. Not a single one was supported by the donations. Not a single one. So now the question is, are we willing to lead that kind of life and free us from the time investment that takes us away so much into the other dimensions and bring it back? And that's what Gurbani is saying. Taisi vast visaiye jaisi nibhe naal. Do that business which is actually transportable to the other dimension, which will help you over there. And that's what is the objective of getting together in the company of those who are on the path. Otherwise, we should get in the company of those who want to play cards and you want to drink and dance and do other stuff. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's a conscious choice. I'm not saying that those are bad. Neither is Gurbani saying that. He's saying if you want to waste this life, that's okay. It's your choice. Go ahead. You can enjoy the sensual pleasures and indulge yourself as much as you want. But understand, then it's like a gambler who knows that I am putting a bet which is going to lose. There is no way this bet is going to win. But still there is some excitement in betting. All right. Put your life on the line. And he says, why is that important? And the next line says, Agge saho sujan hai, lasi vast samal. Let me tell you, that businessman with whom you are actually trying to eventually meet, he is a very smart one. You are not going to be able to talk yourself way out of it if you did not make the right investment. See, we can justify our profits and loss here, right? To each other, whichever way. We may get an inside, information and make some money, but we don't tell that to the others. We say, hey, I bought these shares and look where I am. But he would know that you had the inside track. Agge saho sujan hai. That one is not going to let you get away with any explanation as to what the end result is. So make a conscientious choice of what type of business you want to do. If you are saying, hey, I need to do this business because I am totally convinced without this business I cannot even survive on this planet, so be it. It's a conscientious choice. But then Nanak will stand up, or Kabir will stand up, or Farid will stand up, Ravidas, Namdev, they will stand up and say, wait a minute guys. We have done that, we have shown you, we have lived not 1 year, not 10 years. We are married, we have children and wives and husbands and relatives and everything. And we are working with our own hands and we are producing our livelihood. Yet, our focus is on the real investment. So, don't fault, don't use it as a crutch or as an excuse. Say it is my conscience choice. At least take that responsibility. It is my choice for now not to do. Actually, if you look at Vedanta, they actually helped you so that you can use this as a crutch. Right? पहले बालपन, फिर गृहस्थ, फिर बानप्रस्थ, और फिर संन्यास. Right? They gave you the freedom that the 3 stages of life you don't have to think about this. What a con job. Because you first 25 years you are a brahmacharya, and then next 25 years you are in grasth, and next 25 you are banprasth. Assumption is you're going to live 100 years, number one. Number two, that when you get to the sannyas stage, you would be capable of doing something. The reality is, by the time you get to that age, none of the karmendriyas are ready to do anything other than sit on the station and wait for the train for you to come. Right, that's it. You're just waiting for the train to arrive. But it put us to sleep so nicely that we got lost into that model. And Gurbani says, absolutely wrong model. Farid says, if you cannot do it while you are young, you will never do it. So that's when you have all of your faculties at peak. If you cannot devote your time in that direction, from that point onward, it's downhill. One thing or the other will bother you. First stage brahmacharya, second stage grist, third stage banprasth. Banprasth is to play the mentor for the generations that are following you.
You hand over.
See, because you in the grist stage you produce children, and by the time that grist stage finishes, your children have started producing children. So now, in the third stage, you are the mentor to the children of the children. That's banprasth. You are mentoring. And once the mentoring is done, then you have actually literally raised 2 generations. Now you are ready to go into the sannyas. Completely detach yourself from the world. And the reality happens exactly the opposite. The interference of the 76-year-old woman and man is far more critical into the life of the children than the interference of the 50-year-old. Watch it. A grandfather, a grandmother would not be able to stay quiet for the grandchild. A father or a mother may be. Grandparents won't. ये क्या हो रहा है? The reality is that it is the mentoring. If the mentoring is required, the mentoring should have been done to the children, not to the children's children. Hence the conflict. Haven't you heard? What's your problem? When I raised you, can I not raise your child? And what's the response? No, I don't want you children to raise my child. I know what you did to me. Exactly. I don't want to raise my child like you raised me. Because I see a lot of problem with me by you raising me. Isn't it? And that's not just today. It has always been the case. So, to expect that when I get to the fourth stage, I will be able to detach completely, impossible. You are far deeper into it. Far more difficult to get detached. So, Gurbani does not subscribe to that model at all. It says no. Jap tap ka band bedla. He says when par server jab uchle tau tarn dohela. Preetji. He says I know when there is a youth, hormones are going nuts to go into the sensual pleasures. But if you can do that at that time, you would have won the battle. And that's what Gurbani is indicating. He says you are not going to get away with that simple talks and excuses. Why? Agge saho sujan hai. Oh Malik bada siyana hai. He would recognize your investment. Lasi vast samal. If that investment there, he will save it for you. If it's not there, he'll tell you, go back. You haven't done the right business. So then how do I do it? Next line answers that question. Say, bhai re, Ram kaho, chetlaye. This line is misquoted by Sikhs very much because it is translated as Chitla ke Ram de naam nu keh. And everybody's problem is, hey, I try to do it, but my mind scatters around, right? And they have put this as a primary condition. That's not what this line is saying. They have misguided you because they know you can't and they don't have the real answer. All this, they want you to continue feeling guilty so that you can continue paying them. They don't want you to, if your mind quiets down, you will not need any Granthi, any Gyani, any Pandit, any Brahman. What you need? You are at peace with yourself. They don't want you to be at peace. The real line is saying, Bhai Re Ram Kaho. You say, start saying the chanting, start saying the name until Chitlai. That process will bring that stage someday. Continue. Don't stop. Don't worry about what the people say. Don't worry about what the mind is doing. It's going to fight back. It's going to do all those crazy things. Don't worry about that. Just continue. Why? Ram da kehna hi chit laganda hai. That's the secret. It's not that I got up at 2 o'clock in the morning, I spent an hour and I fell asleep. And then I went to the Pandit and said, you said Chitalai. I said, well, you didn't say Ram the Chitalai, so what do you want from me? Understand, Gurbani is saying, Bhai re, Ram kaho, kadon tak, jadon tak chit lage. Continue. Why? Because Ram da kehna hi chit lagayega. That is the business. That is the investment. What is your true investment? Ram da kehna. And note that Ram word is underlined. Ma is underlined. Why? Because there are two Rams in Gurbani. One Ram is the son of Dasrath and one Ram is the creator. Ramaya, jo Ramya hoya. That's why the Ram that is son of Dasrath would not have the Ma underlined. And Ram that is the ultimate creative energy will always have the M underlined, so that to distinguish the two. Whenever there is an underline in the word, it basically is saying, think about the meaning. It's not the conventional. You are going to, if you don't think, you're going to go the wrong way. भाई रे राम कहो चित लाए हर जस वखर ले चलो शाह देखे पति आए रहाओ. That's the central theme of the hymn. Start the chanting, the meditation of the word, the name, because that is your vakhar, right? Vanj karo vanjareo vakhar leo samal, right? That was the vakhar, investment to save your investment. So what is that investment? Is defined here again. Har jas vakhar. So what is that investment? It is the chanting of the name. Leh chalo. That is the one which will travel with you. It will go with you. Everything else will not. Shaho dekhe pati aaye. Then that creator will look at you with a loving, caring eyes. He will be welcoming you with a wide open arms. Shaho dekhe pati aaye. Teri pat reh jayegi, izzat reh jayegi. But that's not what is happening. What's really happening? The next line. Jinna ras na sach hai, kyun tina sukh hoye, khote vanj vanjiye manatan khota hoye. So this is what's going on. The man is doing the business on this planet, but doing business keda khota vanj. The wrong kind. You know what's khota? Khota means a base coin. खोटा पैसा कही था ना. And you'll be surprised that if you talk to a baniya, talk to a businessman, and he has a khota paisa, a base coin in his, and they say they won't let you throw it, because the understanding is कि खोटा पैसा भावें सवेरे घर वापस आ जाए, नेरे सवेरे चल जाता है. Means what? If you don't have anything, the real one, normally these kind of lights and the things weren't there. So they will go to the shop, they'll hand over the base coin, they'll get the stuff, come in the evening. In the morning, the guy will see it, he will come back home and say, what do you do? Rati khota paisa de koi gal nahi ji, nere je pata nahi laga, hun le jao. See, khota paisa nere swere kam aa janda. That's how it is thought through. Means what? It is a temporary solution. Khota business is a temporary solution. In the long run, it is going to come back home without doing anything. And that's what the Gurbani is saying. Khote vanj vananje manatan khota hoye. He says, those who are into this business, which is the base coin type business, which is the sensual play in this life, he says that is actually damaging both the inner and the outer in the long run. Outer is getting damaged because it is exhausting itself, the energy in the sensual pleasures. Inner is damaging because it's not spending time into inner evolution at all. There is no Naam Japana going on at all. There is no bhakti. There is no meditation. And then what happens? Phahi phathe mirg jiyon dukh ghano nitroe. Again, example is of the deer who runs in the sound. Listening to the sound, he comes. And because he has long horns, they normally get stuck into the bushes. That's how he's caught. If he tries to take himself out, he normally ends up breaking his neck. Usually doesn't get out once the horns are in stuck. And he says, Pahi phathe mirgajyo, as the deer gets caught, and then what is his end? Dukh ghano nitaroy. Without the pain and frustration, there is nothing else left. That is what the end result of a life which is spent only in chasing the sensual gratification. And that's what Gurbani is warning and saying, Khote pote na pave tin har gurdars na hoye. There is no way to cheat in this process. There is no getting around. If you are saying, if I say, look, I'm doing all these things, but nothing is happening, that means somebody else's fault. Right? Not in this. In the outer world, you can say, I was going to buy this share, I was going to make this investment, and you stopped me. Right? I can blame somebody else. Or I was not going to do it, but you made me do it. And look how much we have lost now. There it is crystal clear. It's nobody else's responsibility but yours, gain or loss. So Gurbani says, Khote pote na pave. There is no way to stay on the negative and give the responsibility to somebody else and think that I'm going to get away with it. That's not possible. Ten har gor dars na hoye. You are not going to win the battle in this case. Khote jaat na pata hai, khot na si jis koe. Anybody who has walked on this path knows that, and you would not be able to lie your way out of it. You will not be able to outsmart them. Khote khot kamavana aaye gaya pat khoye. Those who are on that, and once they get deeper and deeper into it, eventually they waste the whole life process into that. Nanak man samjhaiye gur ke shabd salaha. So how do you come back from if you are gone that path? It says, listen to the word. Listen to the lesson given by Guru. Nanak man samjhaiye. Come back. How? Gur ke shabd salaha. Have some faith into the path and the passage where the others have gone, and they are helping you, trying to help you. It is your choice. You do have a choice. That is one of the paradoxical thing that we keep on discussing. Well, is it a free will or it is all God's will? Well, it's both. Think about it. It is both. If you say it is, well, uske hukum bagar patta nahi hilta. Well, that is very true. तो फिर मेरे को क्या कहते हो? But you have a responsibility to shake that tree a little bit. There is a free will. You can choose to do or not to do. So, listen to Guru's word. Har naam rang ratya bhar na bharmate naha. Har jap laha agla nirbhav har man baha. If you listen to the word and do what? Ram naam rang ratya. If you get to that naam, ratte jana. You know, the ladies know this process very well. That when you want to color your these dupattas, you first have to go to that rang kaat pa ke unu chitta pehla kar dene, soda pa dene. Because if you put the color right way, you dip the cloth the right way, it will come out very bad. Dab khadba nu kehne tabbe pੈ jande. So ਇਸ ਨੂੰ ਪੱਕਾ ਕਰਨ ਦੇ ਲਈ ਕੀ ਗਏ? two words, ਰੰਗਿਆ ਜਾਣਾ ਤੇ ਰਤਿਆ ਜਾਣਾ. Ratya jana da matlab hai the one who has absorbed in every fiber, and no rang kaat, no color that cannot be taken away. But ਜਿਹੜਾ ਰੰਗਿਆ ਹੋਇਆ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਕੱਚਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ, that can be taken away. So it says, Ram Naam Rang Ratya. If that word gets into every fiber of you, Bharana Bharmantenaha, then those will be completely freed up and Harjap Laha Agla. Now the real investment. Laha means the profit. That is the real profit. That will help you to get to the next stage. Well, why bother? Why not to stay into the model 25 saal brahmacharya and 25 saal grihastha and 25 saal ban? Why not to stay in that? Gurbani says for these reasons. रंग मान ले प्यारे जा जा बन ना होला रंग मान ले प्यारे जा जा बन ना होला दिन थोड़े थके भया पुराना चोला रंग मान ले प्यारे जो जो बन ना होला धन जो बन अर फूलना नाठियड़े दिन चार पब्बण केरे पत ज्यो ढल ढुल जुमण हार रंग मान ले प्यारे जो जो बन ना होला दिन थोड़े थके पाया पुराना चोला सज्जन मेरे रंग ले जाए सुते जीरान हम भी वंजा डुमड़ी रोवा चीड़ी बाण की ना सुने ही गोरिए आपन कलने सोए लगी आवे सोहरे नित न पेया होए नानक सोते पे जानवर ते सन्न गुणा गवाई गंठड़े अवगण चलने धन मान ले प्यारे जा जो बन ना होला रहाओ दी तुक कह रही है रंग मान लै प्यारिया जा जौबन ना हुला दिन थोड़े थके भया पुराना चोला रहाओ इसे if you don't want to, why should you worry about it? Here is the reason for this. That the youth, joban, youth means what? Not necessarily Javani. In Gurbani, youth means the energy in the physical senses. The capacity to enjoy the physical senses, sensual pleasures of all kinds. That is Joban. And Gurbani says, it is a extremely short-lived time as compared to the rest of the span of the life. Think about it. When you are a child, you have no clue what the senses are. Then you are growing up and you are preparing in the teenage life, even though you may be aware of the senses, you can't use it. And then you are freed from that bondage. Yet, your energy is required to produce the survival material. So now look at the ratio of the time that is used in worrying about the survival versus really enjoying the senses. This is very short-lived. If you want, put a time graph that I am 50 years old, 60 years old, I sleep so much, I do this much for these things, and then look at the time that you actually have vested in enjoying the food, the drink, the sightseeing, listening to the music or the things that you like, or playing with your children, or playing with your wife or husband, lover. See the time proportion. Out of the 60 years, turn it into hours. You have been on this planet for so many hours. What is the proportion of the hours that were actually used for Joban, enjoying the Joban? Rangamanala. But you understand how short-lived that is? Then thodde thakke paya purana chola, that the body would not cooperate with you for too long. Why? The first two lines. Dhan joban ar phulada nathiade dinchar. The whole lifespan, as Zafar says in his poem, Umare daraz mang kar laaye the 4 din, do arzu mein kat gaye do intezar mein. That's what is being said. The total life, 4 din. 4 doesn't mean 4, means short. Why it is saying short? Well, the person who lives 100 years, is that short enough? Gurbani said, well, how do you know you live 100 years? Where is that guarantee? We don't know when we're going to be called. So, pabban kere pat jiyon tal tol jumman har. Those of you who actually have traveled around the rural area where there is a water, usually there are 4 layers of leaves on the water, and they collect the dust, etc. also. But if the water goes away, they also go away. Unhanu kehndे ne pabban kere pat. Those leaves that fall around, their life is along there on the water. जरा जना वाटर सुकना शुरू होया, वो कंडे दे रह जाते हैं. पब्बन केरे पतज. Right? When the water recedes, those leaves don't go with it. They just stay on the ground and they dry up there. Tala tola jummanahar. They will be completely gone. The same way is the life. Rangamanala pyarya ja joban nohella din thode thake paya purana chola. The body that is required to put into the practice of that is totally going to be gone. It is totally unknown, completely unknown to every human being when the time will come. Hence the emphasis on do it now, do it now, do it now. And if you don't, look around you. Sajjan mere rangale jaye sute jiran. Those who you are in love with, your parents and your brothers and your sisters and your, what has happened to them? Sajjan mere rangale jaye sute jiran. Jiran means cover, morgue. They're all lying over there. And at the most, the only thought that is coming to you is Hambi vajja dumani roma chini ban. Hambi vanja. This is a typical udhar the Multani. Dumani. Dumani the hai do mean do. Money, man. Do mana wali. Dubda. What is the dubda? Marya janda nahi, jiya janda nahi. Duality. Why? Because those I loved, they're gone. Well, I don't know about you, but I can tell you that as I'm growing up, the people with whom I can have an adult conversation are reducing by the hour, not by the day. As if the children don't understand the language, the friends don't understand the language, the wife never understood the language. I could talk to my brothers, I could talk to my father, I could talk to my sisters, I could talk to my bhabis. They're all gone. In my family, I'm telling you a personal thing, I am the last surviving in that generation. Everybody else is gone. Because I'm the youngest. They were all the older. They're all gone. So that's why many times, these friends ask me, when did you go to India? I say, why? Because, yes, I have my nephews and the nieces and they have their children and so forth. But I'm a total ajnabi. I'm a total stranger. Worse than a visitor. Because I can't play the total visitor also. I mean, if I go to Paris or London or something, I'm a total stranger. That's all right. I know I'm a total stranger. But in that land, in that house, I am neither a stranger nor anyone who belongs to anything. And then what happens when you reach that stage? Gurbani says, Hambi vanja dumani roma jhini ba. Kyun? Sajjan mere rangale jaye sutte jiran. All those with whom you could actually communicate and you had the connection with, they're all gone. They're all in the morgue. वो कब्रिस्तान में चले गए. And then what comes through from what arises from you? हम भी वंजान. मैं भी जाना उठे चलना. But a dummani. And it was the same dummanapan. Should I go to and meditate or should I make money? That was the same dubda over there. How much money is enough for me? How much wealth is enough for me? We never ever, I don't know about you, again I am talking about myself, never drawn a line that this much is enough and I'll stop. Because then the thought comes, well, one bad illness and one hospital bill, everything will be on the block. I better not stop. Isn't it? We have now drawn a boundary. Continue pushing, continue pushing. And Gurbani says, all that happens at Roma Chini Ban. अपने अंदर हौली हौली सिसकियां लगे ताकि बाहर भी लोगों को पता ना लग जाए. When I meet the others, how are you? I'm doing great. I come home, long face, heavy eyes. What's going on? This is what's going on, that you have made the wrong investment and you are absolutely without any profit. That's what's going on. Your inner self knows it. Why do you think everybody is so afraid of dying? the reason of being afraid of dying is those who have lived fully here, they are ready. Ab kab maro, maran man manya. Kabir ji. You see, I am ready. Kado wari aayegi? Maran man manya. I'm ready. I'm packed up. Why? Because he done his job. Jit marne te jag dare, mere man anand. You say, I'm ready. Why does an individual entity so get scared of whenever there is a sign of death? The fear of facing, like 2 mahine diyan chuttiyan hundiyan ne, and the master gives you the homework and the summer vacation. Think about the kid who has done nothing and he's supposed to face the principal on the first day. Do you think he wants to go to school? That's exactly what the soul is going through. As the messenger comes from the death, I don't want to go. Please save me here. Why not? Your body is not cooperating with you. Why don't you go and get a new body? No, I don't want to face. I don't want to face the principal. Why? Because I know I haven't done anything. Somewhere in our own consciousness, that is a very, very clear message. We all know that. From the outer intellectual level, we can justify whatever we want to justify. In reality is the fear of death. If you have done the investment and you know you are taking something, you would not have a single concern about moving on to the next life, moving on to the next dimension. More you have lived in the sensual world, more afraid you would be from transition from this life. And that's why Roma, Chini, Ban, andar baiti roni hai. Holi holi siskiyan leni. It says, why are you doing this? Ki na sune hi gori hai. Tenu sunai nahi dinda. Apan kanni soe. Tenu apne kanna ch gal sunai dindi nahi pai ki ye hona. Can't you hear it? Ki na, question mark. I mean, challenge. Ki na sune hi gori hai. Ki tu sundi nahi pai. Apan kanni. With your own ears, all these words, soe means shobha. Don't you hear this? What? Lagi aave saure nitna peya hoye. Don't you know that? There is no way to stay in your father's home all your life. You got to go to your in-laws. Don't you know that? You have to go. You have to face the husband of us all. There is no way hiding from him. Ki na sune hi gori hai, apan kanni soe, lagi aave sahore. You have to go to the in-laws. Nit na peya hoye. You cannot stay in your parents' home for the rest of your life. Means what? This is the parents' home. Why? Because Guru is the father. Tu mera pita, tu hai mera mata, tu mera bandhab, tu mera bhrata. Hai na? We sit next to the Guru and listen to his advice how to prepare for getting married to the ultimate husband of us all. And he says, just as in the social environment, a daughter cannot stay with the parents for the rest of her life. She has to be married off and sent to her husband. So if she has gathered good habits, good characteristics, she will be loved by all, including the husband. If she does not have those characteristics, what would the husband do? Send home. Go to your parents. Isn't it? That's what happens in the social life. Gurbani is saying spiritual life runs exactly parallel. If you have not done the right thing and not have earned those credits, the husband of us all, when you get there, he'll look at it and say, and you can't hide from anything. There is no way to camouflage it. He's going to say, no, you don't have those qualities. Go back. Another life, another cycle. Nanak sutti peye jaan varitti san. And say, what is happening in the human mind body system? It is sleeping like the daughter who is sleeping at father's home and is not worried at all. And what is happening? Vritti son. Whatever is the good thing was, chor la gaye. Kede chor? Kaam, krodh, lobh, moh, ahankar. And what is happening to him? To her, guna gawai gantadi. The good characteristics are lost here. Avgan challi ban. And all this entity takes with it is the negative energy, which is totally useless and ends up going through the cycle. That's why the emphasis is Vanj karo Vanjareo Vakharleo Samad. So the first hymn says, do this. Second hymn says, why I'm emphasizing on this? If you don't, this is what's going to happen. Make a choice. It is a free will choice. The husband of us all would not come and stop you and say, if you want me to love you, do this or don't do that. Guru will tell you, if you want to be accepted by your husband, you have to develop these characteristics, which is, Bhai re, Ram kaho, chitlai. So may we be blessed and have the energy and the courage and the desire to get on that path so that husband of us all may love us and accept us when we get there. With that, we conclude today's talk. Thanks for coming. I know it's a long weekend, holidays, and you have sacrificed a lot.